Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Ayana, and this is the YHUHderek channel. Today we are going to be talking about the Shabath day and when it should be observed. This should be a rather short one. This is actually a continuation of what is morning and what is evening. But first, I'd like to thank everyone who has supported the YHUHderek channel. Thank you for watching the videos, interacting with comments, sending emails, and as always, thank you for your donations. Here are the people who have donated, so thank you very much. If you're interested in donating to the YHUHderek channel, there's two avenues to do that. The first one is PayPal. You can do that under YHUHderek@mail.com, and also CashApp, which is $YHUHderek. Thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoy. All right, so the purpose of the Shabbat day video is pretty much like the video What is Morning and What is Evening, is to show further proof that daytime is a 12-hour time frame from morning to evening. But in addition to that, it's also to show that the Shabath is also from morning to evening on the seventh day. In this video, we will be looking at Exodus chapter 16, verses 22 through 30, to see how Yasharel celebrated their first Shabbat after leaving, exiting Mitzrayim or Egypt. And then at the end, we'll go ahead and combine the other previous scriptures that talk about daytime and when day, 12-hour day parameters, and we'll sum it all up. All right, so let's talk about what we know about the Shabbat. So I have two verses here that YHUH directly talks about the Shabbat. The first one is in Bereshith, or Genesis chapter 2, verses 2 and 3. And on the seventh day, YHUH ended his work which he made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he made. And YHUH baruched the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he had rested from all his work which YHUH created and made. All right, and the second verse is from Shabath, or Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 through 10. Remember the Shabath day, this is actually one of the commandments, to keep it Kadush. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Shabath of YHUH your Eluah. In it you shall do no work, no, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, your maid servant, your manservant, nor your cattle, nor the stranger that is within your gates. So, pretty much what we know about the Shabbat based on those two verses. We know that YHUH took the seventh day off from working. He had completed all his work and creation on the first 6 days. On the seventh day, he decided to rest. We know that YHUH baruched and made the day Kodash. He made the Shabbat set apart, and he baruched it, which blessed, it means blessed. He baruched that day, and he set it apart from the rest of the week. We know that we are to do the same as YHUH and rest every seventh day. We know that the Shabbat is at the end of the 7-day week. It is not at the beginning, like what has been done with Christianity. They moved it from the seventh day to the first day of the week, and that's not correct. It's the seventh day of the week. And also by the two verses, we are to do no work. And that includes everyone in our household, any hired help, any animals that is used for labor or production. We are supposed to completely rest and think about YHUH's goodness and all of the barakah that he provides to us and our family. Okay, so Now we're going to get into the main part of the video, and that is the first Shabath. Again, we're going to look at Shamuth, chapter 16, verses 22 through 30. But before we get into that, I'll tell you a little bit what happens in the previous verses. Excuse me. I apologize. Okay, so prior to verse 22, Yasarel, the Exodus was made. Yahweh let Yasarel out of Mitzrayim, which is Egypt. They are traveling. This is actually the second month after they left Mitzrayim. They end up in Elim, which is close to Sinai. And Yasarel starts grumbling because they're complaining that Moshe and Aaron brought them out to the wilderness to die, and that they would, Yasarel said that they would rather, be in Mitzrayim with the, where there was plenty of food to eat. Yahuwah hears them. He tells Moshe pretty much that, he's gonna rain down a miracle from the Shamayim, or heaven, and he's going to see if Yasarel will follow his laws or not. So he tells Moshe that in the evening he's going to bring flesh for Yasarel to eat, but in the morning he's going to rain down bread from the Shamayim, or the heaven. He's going to rain it down. And Moshe, he goes and tells Yasarel this. When it happens, excuse me, when it happens, Yahweh tells Moshe, to tell Yasarel to collect a certain amount every day. Don't collect any more, don't collect any less. But on the sixth day of the week, that they are to collect twice as much of the manna. Manna actually means, what is it? Just in case I forgot about that. The bread that rains down from heaven every morning they call it manna, because they wanted to know, what is it? And that's literally what manna means. What is it? All right. So now we come to here. This is actually the sixth day of that of the second month out of leaving. This is the sixth day of the week. So verse 22. And it came to pass that on the sixth day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moshe, and he said to them, this is what Yahuwah has said. Tomorrow is the rest of the Kodash Shabath unto Yahuwah. Bake what you will bake today, and seethe what you will seethe, which means boil. That which remains lay over for you to be kept until morning. And they laid it up till morning, as Moshe bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm in it. And Moshe said, eat that today. Now remember, this is the morning of Shabbat. Eat that today, for today is a Shabbat unto Yahuwah. Today you shall not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Shabbat, in it shall be none. And it came to pass that some people went out on the seventh day to gather, and they found none. And Yahweh said to Moshe, how long will you refuse to keep my commandments and laws? See, for that Yahweh have given you the Shabbat. Therefore he has given you on the sixth day the bread of 2 days. Abide you every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the seventh day. So the people rested on the seventh day. Okay, so what is significant about these verses, this passage, this whole entire chapter, is that this is the first time that Yahuwah that Yasharel is doing the Shabath corporately after they have left Egypt. Okay? This is hardcore proof that number one, daytime is sunrise to evening, right? Morning to evening. This also is hardcore proof that Shabath is celebrated. Shabath begins sunrise on the seventh day. And the key to that is the word morning. All right. It came to pass on the sixth day, they gathered twice as much bread. So they started on the sixth day. They collected the bread, they meaning Yasharel. Excuse me. They collected twice as much bread. Usually it will not last overnight. Some people tried that in the previous verses. They were only supposed to collect bread for that day. They tried to keep it overnight, and it had worms in it and it stank. But on the sixth day, they were supposed to gather twice as much bread. And when they kept it overnight, it did not stink, as it says there. And they laid it up till morning. So on the sixth day morning, they collected the bread, and Masha told them to cook what you're gonna cook on the sixth day in preparation for Shabbat, and it will keep until morning. So the word morning is critical because it doesn't really say that anywhere else. On top of that, what is crucial about this is that on the Shabbat day, Masha says, eat that today, for today is a Shabbat unto Yahuwah. Specifically. So in the morning, they ate the bread. Masha tells them, eat this today. Because today, this morning, is the Shabbat unto Yahuwah. And it's hard to counteract that because of the specific word morning, right? So 3 things to take note of. On the 6th day, twice as much manna was given, so each household had food for the Shabbat. Point 2, Yasharel kept the food until Shabbat morning. All right. Last point, Masha said on Shabbat morning to eat today because today was the Shabbat. So not only is daytime a 12-hour period from morning until evening, but the Shabbat takes place from morning to evening also. Now, I know that's going to rankle people. I know the last 4 videos rankled people because we were examining the moon and how that's not acceptable as far as for feast. It's not acceptable to determine anything other than nighttime, what it was meant for. But this is just the truth. Shabbat is from sun up until evening. It is not a 24-hour period. It's not evening from evening. It's not morning until the next morning. It's the same 12-hour period that I've been telling you daytime is. So let's look at those YHUHderek words. Morning is the word bakwar. We've gone over this word before. To open, to break forth. Morning, breaking forth. It's from the root word bakar, which is to be first or to be firstborn. So morning literally means to be the first. When it's morning, daybreak comes out. Daytime breaks forth. And it is the beginning of the day. It's the first part of the day. Second word that's important when we're talking about Shamuth 16 verses 22 through 30 is the word today. or day. It is the word Yaum. We've gone over this too. It means the day, the heat of the day, from the word Yakam, which means to be hot. In other words, not only is day starting in the morning, but the Shabbat starts in the morning too. Day and Shabbat does not start from evening to evening. It does not. It does not. It starts from morning to evening, an approximate 12-hour period. Okay. It's going to be hard because Masha says, let me go back. Masha says, laid it up till morning, Bakwar. As Masha bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm in it. And Masha said, eat that today, for today is a Shabath unto Yahuwah. All right, so the Shabbat takes place during the same time frame that daytime takes place. All right, so Shabbat morning is confirmed by Yahuwah in Shemuth chapter 16, verse 12. Yahuwah tells Masha, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Yasreel. Speak to them, saying, at evening you shall eat flesh, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah, your Eluah. So he is guaranteeing that in the morning. So again, even if you wanted to debate the other verses, Yahuwah is saying in the morning you shall be filled with bread. On Shabbat morning, they were filled with bread. Every morning they were filled with bread. But he's saying that the day, he's confirming that day starts in the morning. And in particular, Shabbat starts in the morning also. Likewise, verses 23 through 25. And he said to them, this is what Yahuwah said, tomorrow is the rest of the Kudush Shabath unto Yahuwah. Bake what you will bake today, seethe what you will seethe, which remains over up for you to be kept until morning. And they laid it up until morning as Masha bade. And it did not stink, neither was there any worm in it. And Masha said, eat that today, for today is a Shabbat unto Yahuwah. So all of these things in the morning, Bakwar, Bakwar, Bakwar. Some people say Boker with vowel pointing, but morning. You can't get around that word morning. Shabath starts in the morning. All right, so we've added a couple of extra things of what we know about Shabbat. We already talked about the previous 5, that Yahweh took the 7th day off from working. Yahuwah baruched and made the Shabbat Kadash. We are to do the same and as Yahuwah and rest on every 7th day. The Shabbat is at the end of the 7th-day week, not at the beginning, not in the middle, and none of that. All right. We are to do no work, and that includes everything in our household, including hired help and animals. And we are not supposed to cook on the Shabbat day. Masha said, cook what you're going to cook on the 6th day. Boil what you're going to boil on the 6th day. And lay it up until Shabbat morning, and it'll be good. Right? And the other new thing, that we are not supposed to go out of our homes on Shabbat. Remember, some people did not listen to the instructions of Yahuwah, and they went out on the 7th day to look for manna, and Yahuwah got upset with Masha and said, how long will you disobey my commandments? And Masha told the people, go back to your houses. You're not supposed to go out of your homes on Shabbat. You already got twice as much bread for Shabbat day. So that's something new that we learned by these verses. So now we're going to combine everything we know about daytime, right? So in the previous video, what is morning, what is evening, We talked about Matthew 16:1. That's where Yahusha, he talks about evening that the sky is red, morning that the sky is red, and he agrees with them, the Sadducees and the Pharisees, on that assessment. Right? They can they can discern the face of the sky, but they couldn't discern the times so they couldn't discern the signs of the times. So with the sky in the morning being red and the sky being red in the evening, those are the parameters of morning until evening, or sunrise until evening, right? So that's the parameters of the day. Bereshith 1, 4, and 5, we talked about how Yahuwah divided the light from the day. He divided the light from the night, right? He separated them. He called them light day, and darkness he called night. And that existing evening and existing morning was the first day. We talked about the word existing, how it's not even translated, that they purposely left it out of translation, but that the reason why that's key and critical is because existing means it's within that 12-hour period. You cannot go from evening to evening if it's only within a 12-hour period. Existing evening and existing morning, that means on that first day, there was no day before it and there's no day after it. So it has to be within the parameters of that day, right? And we talked about that extensively in what is morning and what is evening. Also, Yahuchanan John 11:9 is where Yahusha talks about how many hours in a day. Are there not 12 hours in a day? Right? He goes on to talk about, walking in the daylight, and men will stumble if he walks at night because the light is not in him. But pretty much Yahusha is saying that there are approximately 12 hours in a day. So those three right there sets up the parameters for daytime. Morning, red sky. Evening, red sky. Existing evening and existing morning is a 12-hour period. You cannot go over to the next day, looking at Genesis 1, 4 through 5, because that is the very first day. You can't go to the next day because there is no next day. You can't go to the day prior to that because there were no days before that one. So it's within the parameters of that day, which is evening and morning. John 11, Yahusha is telling us that there's approximately 12 hours in a day, and that fits from morning to evening. And then lastly, what we just went over, Shamuth, Exodus 16, verses 22 through 30. It talks about how the Shabath fits within the same daytime parameters, morning to evening, and how specifically Masha said that today, which was in the morning of the seventh day, the morning of Shabbat, that it was the Shabbat. Okay, and that people were supposed to remain in their homes. It could eat the food that was provided to them, the double portion that was provided on the sixth day, and they laid it up until morning, and that Shabbat is from morning to evening. So this pretty much wraps up daytime. I spent a lot of time about the parameters of the day because, number one, to get it correct according to scripture and not according to what man say. It is not evening to evening. It is not even morning to the next morning. It's morning to evening. It's a approximate 12-hour day. And not only does the regular everyday time fall into that, but the Shabbat falls into that same parameter. The Shabbat starts in the morning and concludes at evening. And these are the four witnesses. I know it takes 2 or 3 witnesses. in scripture, but you have 4. 2 of them, Yahusha says, 2 of them, Yahuwah talks about it. And it doesn't get any better than that. So I'm going to rest about the day. This is the last time I'll talk about this, that daytime is a 12-hour period. The Shabath is a 12-hour period. It falls within the parameters of daytime. And hopefully this gets through to you, and that we can move on to the next thing about Yahuwah's calendar. I'd just like to thank you. Hopefully this was nice and short and sweet. Here are the source and resources that I used to compile this video. And I want to thank you, and I hope that you and your family are doing well, that you're staying healthy, that Yahuwah continues to protect you and provide for your home and gives you everything you need. If you do live in the United States, particularly the East Coast, I pray that you all remain warm, that your heat continues to work, that the severe weather doesn't affect anybody, and that you have everything you need. Thank you, and may Yahuwah continue to baruch you and your family. Shalom.